Check out this waterspout that turned into a tornado and damaged homes in Maryland Thursday afternoon. This was associated with a much bigger storm system that caused 198 wind reports across the mid-Atlantic and Northeast, and a prolific lightning storm in the Washington, D.C. area. In fact, one cloud-to-ground strike occurred right in front of the White House. This ultimately led to the unfortunate passing of 3 people who were sightseeing in the area. 2 of those people were husband and wife Jim and Donna Mueller. They were high school sweethearts who were on their 56th anniversary trip. And this is just a reminder that June, July, and August are the most active months for lightning in the US and the most deadly. We're likely going to see a whole lot more lightning over the next few days as we have some supercharged storms on the way. Today, we're actually talking about the possibility for more intense flooding, as the Weather Prediction Center has put out a moderate risk of excessive rainfall for Iowa, Illinois, and Wisconsin. That first big round is coming through right now and already causing a bunch of problems, but we're going to get a little bit of a break starting around 3 or 4 p.m. and then boom, another area of heavy rain comes in around midnight to 7 a.m. in the morning tomorrow. This has the potential to drop over a foot of rain in some isolated areas in Iowa and Wisconsin and maybe in the northwestern portion of Illinois. So make sure you watch those streams and rivers today if you live in a flood-prone area. This could be a dangerous situation. Where we see rainfall today, it is going to be a little bit cooler, like over here in the Appalachians and of course north of that boundary line up into Minnesota and Wisconsin where the flooding is occurring, and also behind the cold front a little bit in Wyoming and Montana and North Dakota. But look, we still got a big old bubble of heat here in the south central US. 90 to 105, that's the story from Kansas all the way down into Texas. And then of course in the desert southwest, we are scorching once again with temperatures above 110 degrees. Watch what happens as I pull this forward. Something really interesting is going on here. That cold front is going to sweep through the entire eastern half of the US, and it's going to get downright comfortable and maybe even chilly in some of these areas from the Great Lakes all the way over into the Northeast. At the same time, new heat is emerging in the west, and we're seeing a new ridge build up, so the heat's not going away over there. Now, what about rainfall? Everybody in the green and the blue is going to get more than average, and everybody in the white or the brown is going to get at or below average rainfall over the next 10 days. And you can see that we still have that monsoonal flow that's going to carry some of that extra moisture up through the Great Plains and then into the upper Midwest and Great Lakes region. We do expect to see a lot of rain up here over the next several days. We're going to continue to see isolated showers and thunderstorms from the Gulf of Mexico energy down here in the deep south. This is really good news for Texas, Louisiana, and Arkansas, as it does look like we're going to be anomalously above average for once for the next little bit. But back here into central Texas, into Kansas and Oklahoma, it's still very dry. Now, everybody that's in the plain white, it's going to be normal, okay? It's going to be, we're not talking about more rain or less rain, and the temperatures are also going to be pretty normal over here as well. So, buddy, I'm telling you right now, this is good fishing weather. I'm tired of coming on here all the time and just talking about the bad things that are going to happen. Why don't we do a fishing weather forecast every once in a while? Who wants to go fishing with me? Now, I understand not everybody has the time to fish these days. We're all kind of cooped up and we got a lot of stuff going on, but that's all right because I got a great sponsor today. Fishing Clash, the mobile fishing simulator for on-the-go fun. Y'all squad, sometimes we can get busy. Between chasing tornadoes, raising tens of thousands of dollars for relief, and spending time with your family, it's hard to find time to go fishing. But Fishing Clash is here to change that. Fishing Clash is the best way to entertain your love for fishing without actually having to find the time to go fishing. Explore different fishing locations as you cast your rod from land to sea, and compete with other fishers to see who can snag the biggest catch. You can participate in weekly challenges to sharpen your skills, and you can even create your own clan to fish with family and friends. I'm telling y'all, there's nothing like Fishing Clash. I've been playing for a little while and I'm having a blast, okay? It's almost like the real thing. Look at that sucker. And great news for y'all, if you download Fishing Clash today and you use my code, which is right here, you're gonna get 20 bucks worth of in-game rewards. That's right, with my gift code, you're gonna get a 3-star rod, 1 mythical lure, 50 luck power-ups, and 30 weight power-ups. Download the game using my link in the description below or this QR code right here. And don't forget to take your gift by using my code. Okay, let's get fishing and let's get back into the video. And would you look at that, we actually have something to talk about in the Atlantic Basin today. The National Hurricane Center now has a 5-day 40% chance of development here in the main development region, and they're saying a tropical wave located just off the west coast of Africa is producing disorganized showers and thunderstorms over the far eastern tropical Atlantic, and the environmental conditions are generally conducive for the continued development of cyclogenesis here. So I do believe that this is going to be Tropical Storm Danielle rainfall at some point here pretty soon. I've been talking about this for a while. If you remember me talking about the EPS showing that signal, I don't know, 4 or 5 days ago, it's still doing that, and it actually looks a little bit more concerning now. This is definitely the biggest signal, the most realistic signal that we've received so far this year in the Atlantic, and I'm almost certain that something's going to come out of this. Now, is it going to be big? Is it going to be a bad deal? I don't know. We're tracking it together, but something is happening out here. Something else interesting is the GFS deterministic model's picking up on this thing. You can see it forming right here on Wednesday, August 10th. We've got a pretty healthy low pressure system here in the main development region. It's spinning, it's doing its thing, and it's heading west. Now, let's push this a little bit further into the future. You can see it gets all the way down to a 995 millibar low pressure center, and then it starts to unwind a little bit. By Friday, August 12th, this thing is veering a little bit too far to the north. It's getting in some of those colder waters, and it's starting to fizzle out. However, by this time, it has already reached tropical storm status at least. But according to this one model, it may not be a direct threat to the United States. As you can see, it just kind of falls apart out here in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Now, one of the main reasons for this is wind shear. How many times have I said it, guys? Wind shear is the kryptonite to tropical cyclones. They cannot handle it, okay? So this spinny boy is tearing stuff up out here in the middle of the ocean, and it's got its sights set on the west. But this big area of blocking wind shear is going to intensify and kind of wrap itself up in that cyclone and just completely disintegrate it here. And if this turns out to be the actual pattern, if this is what actually happens with the upper air winds, we're certainly not going to have to worry about this hurricane in the U.S. We can see here by looking at the surface pressure that one of the contributing factors to this is a much weaker high pressure system over the northern Atlantic, okay? Earlier in the season, we had this big triple high blocking system that was suppressing everything too far to the south, and now it's just too weak to even guide anything far enough west. So things are really going in our favor here in the U.S. as far as all the things are lining up perfectly to deflect systems away from us. Now, don't get me wrong, we're still in a triple dip La Nina, and we still have those cooking sea surface temperatures out here, but it does look like, despite the fact we have a loaded gun scenario here with our tropics, they are backing off just a little bit. Now, the National Hurricane Center actually agrees with me here, and they've updated their hurricane forecast for this year. We're still expecting an above average season, but the numbers are turned down just a little bit. Now we're expecting 14 to 20 named storms with 6 to 10 hurricanes and 3 to 6 major hurricanes. Once again, still above average, but just slightly less above average than what was originally predicted, and I'm completely on board here. We're definitely going to have to turn down those numbers a little bit, but I'm telling you guys, September and October are going to be the main months this year. The tropics are going to heat up. And speaking of heating up, is anybody tired of the heat? I sure am. I'm ready to turn the AC on. I'm ready for fall, and let me tell you what's got me in the mood here. Just the other day, we got our first winter storm warning of the season in Alaska, and the storm that sparked that warning could actually result in a foot of snow in areas above 4,000 feet in the Brooks Range. So I saw that winter storm warning come through, and I just got this tingle, man. This is the CFS model's outlook for what the temperatures are going to be like in October, okay? So we're close enough to fall to start doing these long-term forecasts. I agree with this, okay? As we go into September, we're going to be much cooler than average in the plains and into the Midwest. It's been super hot. It's going to come down. Therefore, we're going to have a below average monthly mean, okay? But as we go into October, now this is completely experimental, okay? This is goo goo gaga. This is woo woo wee wee. But it does look like, according to this global model, we're going to come back above average here in October for a lot of places in the central U.S. and the eastern U.S. And then as we go all the way out into November, it looks like we're going to be a little bit warmer than average here in the central U.S. once again, but we are starting to come down below average in the northeast, and of course we're hanging on to those chillier temperatures in the Pacific Northwest. So what about precipitation? The green's going to be wetter than average, the brown's going to be drier than average. Looks like above average rainfall up here in the northern portion of the U.S. up into the northeastern portion through September, and we're going to continue to see below average rainfall down here in the south. It does look like, though, because the Gulf of Mexico is so juicy, it's so warm, we are going to see a lot of extra convection down here, which could obviously lead to the formation of tropical storms and hurricanes that then kind of bring some of that moisture onto the coastal areas of the Gulf, but we don't know for sure. October looks really wet up here in the Pacific Northwest, but everybody else is pretty much normal. And then November, it looks like we're going to be having a little bit of a dry spell over here on the East Coast, and then everybody out here from the Rockies into the Central Plains might be getting a little bit of a relief with some additional rainfall. And then we're drier than usual in the Pacific Northwest, so a lot of flip-flops over here. But remember, this is completely experimental. We're just looking at it for fun. I personally think that this is close, and we'll see some sort of variation of this. And unfortunately, that means for a lot of us over here on the East, we're not going to see any early snowstorms this year, as I know a lot of people start thinking about snow in November, especially the further south you go down here. It's Snowtown, baby. Looks like we might have to wait till December or January this year. Now, a lot of people think that once we go into fall, severe weather season's over, but that's not true. Here's a look at where the traditional areas of severe weather usually set up in fall, and I think we're going to have no variation from this year. If you're in the Ohio Valley and the Deep South, we're going to have a couple rounds of intense severe weather this year. And of course, we are still experiencing a triple dip La Nina, okay? We still have those high sea surface temperatures, so the weather story of this fall could very well be driven by hurricanes. We still expect those things to start ramping up in September, October, and November, okay? So don't let your guard down there, and don't be scared, just be prepared. Super huge shout out to all of our members over here. Thank you guys so much for being a part of the channel, guys. Super big shout out also to Fishing Clash. This game is fun, all right? I've got it, I've been playing it, you're gonna like it. And of course, once again, if you support what I do, if you like what I do, and if you want me to be able to pay our team and everything, please consider supporting the people that sponsor us. Go download it, y'all. There's a link in the description. Use my code RYANHALL. You're gonna love it, all right? It's gonna be fun, and you won't regret it. Let us know how much fun you had in the comments down below, okay, with Fishing Clash. All right, I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye. Ooh.